going live. We're going live. Hello, everyone. It's not a real live stream if I don't have a lot of technical difficulties, because that just always happens with me. Okay, let me just go over to the old one and make sure everybody knows where we are. I go to this on YouTube. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, now there's some people filtering in. Hello, everyone. Hello. Let me just sort everything out since I am sick of all the ads. Thank you. Okay, let me just put in a comment and pin it. So I'll see you there, you there. Could somebody please let me know if the mics are hooked up? I'm gonna touch them very gently, and can someone please tell me if those mics are hooked up instead of the actual ones? Okay, good, perfect. Okay, now people are here. Okay, hello, I do got it. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I don't know, every single time I do a live stream, there's always something that happens. This time, I know for a fact, I put in I was gonna use my webcam, and then I started it, and it just opened up OBS, and from what I can tell, you can't switch how you're streaming, or at least I don't know, so I just panicked and opened up a new live stream, and here we are. Maybe I should just delete the old live stream. Would that be better? I don't know. I pinned. Okay, everyone tell me what you think. I pinned it. Oh, wait, I didn't even pin the comment. Let me pin the comment. Pin. Okay, pin the comment to tell everyone to come over here. I feel like we have the same amount of people. Hello, everyone. Okay, burn it. Burn what? Okay, let's get situated. Okay, everything is hooked up now. Can someone let me know? I'm going to gently touch the mics on the side. Can someone let me know if those mics are the ones that are hooked up instead of my laptop mics? And also, do you think it would be better if I just deleted the old live stream, or would it be better if I kept it up with the comment telling everyone to come over here? Live streams, am I right? Can't hear the side mics. Oh my gosh, okay. No, that's muted. I was in the 2 mics, so it should, oh my gosh, I don't know why they make this so confusing. Customization. Isn't this very exciting? Aren't you guys having a great time? Okay, it says I'm using those mics. That's kind of strange. So, okay, you're sure, like, you can't hear this sound? Can anyone hear that? I'm going to touch it. This one. Can you hear that? Anyone? I guess I'll have to wait because you guys are buffering, but yeah, you'll get to it. But let's get right into it. Oh, now I'm really tiny. No, so today is not my actual birthday. My actual birthday is on the 19th. So okay, you hear the side mics. Perfect. Thank you. That's very helpful. But yeah, so my actual birthday is on the 19th, but I'm going to do things with my friends on that weekend as well as things with my family. So I figured it would be much, much better to do it today. So yeah, as you guys know, we are doing a Q&A. I've got quite a few questions from you guys here. And then also I will be opening up to you guys as we go along. As I've done in the past, what I try to do is answer a question or two, depending on how long the answer is, and then I'll come back to the chat and then kind of address a few things at once. depending on how many people are here, I won't be able to respond to every single comment. So please don't be offended if I skip your comment. But if I do skip your comment and you think it's important, feel free to say it a second time and I'll probably take note of it then. Or tell me this is a very important comment and I would like you to respond to it. As in normal maple tradition, I am incredibly nervous for the first 5 minutes, and then as soon as we get into it, I'm fine. So, I brought you guys a special gift. Even though it's my birthday, I brought you guys a gift. That's how generous I am. I figured because last time we did a live stream, I showed a picture of Little Maple on top of the cabinet. And so I want to start a tradition where every live stream I'll show you a different picture of Little Maple. And this one is one of my favorites because I used to have like curly blonde hair. Okay, I'm going to try to make this not glare. So I'm going to point it down. Where am I pointing at? Look at this little muffin. Look at those little cheeks. Look at this little tiny muffin with her little cute. You can't say no to that face. You can't say no to that face. And then also here's my brother in case you guys haven't seen my brother. That's my brother. Anyways. Okay, that's your special gift. Yeah, I am a Valentine's Day birthday person. Actually, I had one boyfriend, and our anniversary was on, what was it? I think the 16th or the 17th. And so then the next year, we had Valentine's Day, our anniversary, and my birthday all within a week. And he was like, yeah, I just spent all my money for you at one time of the year. But okay, let's get into some questions because I can ramble forever about anything. I brought a few things to do visual triggers and also a little bit of auditory triggers. I'm going to start with my big brush. I've been doing a lot of it lately, especially with my meditation videos, but I think I've mentioned, I'm not used to this camera. I need to like see where I am. Yeah, I'm going to be awkwardly looking off camera for the first little bit as I get used to my terrible webcam. Only because I always have technical difficulties, and if I add in OBS, then that's just asking for too much, and it's obviously going to go wrong. So I'm going to be starting with some kind of like trivia, kind of easier questions to kind of ease into it, I guess. So if you guys have any other trivia or like general knowledge questions, feel free to ask those now because I'll try to do them in like chunks. Like I'll do like a chunk of ASMR questions, a chunk of work questions, stuff like that. But the first question I have was my top 5 Jim Carrey films, which I really like this question because I feel like it's a good way to judge someone, I guess. Not that judging is good. So I tried to come up with an order, but I felt bad giving it an order. Also, I'm going to try to go into my ASMR voice as we go along, but I always find it really hard to do my ASMR voice when I'm nervous, which I am now. Also, wine. I prefer wine. Beer just makes me bloated. Anyways, top 5 Jim Carrey films. So again, there's no order. This is just my top 5. So don't try to find meaning in the order. But the first one I have is The Truman Show. I feel like that one's just such a classic. Not even just the movie, but like what it did in pop culture and the world. Like everyone knows The Truman Show. And then the next one I had was Bruce Almighty. That one's just very nostalgic for me. There's a few lines like beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. I really like that movie when I was a kid, especially since I went to church. I don't know. I thought it was so funny to actually think about if someone had God powers. But yeah, so I love Bruce Almighty. Then the next one I have is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Classic. I feel like the first time I watched it, I didn't get it too much, but I was quite young. But yeah, I mean, it's become a favorite of mine. It has a really good cast as well. Like every single cast member is great in that movie. So Eternal Sunshine, and then The Grinch. It's kind of cheesy, but it's just a really nice Christmas movie, I find. And Jim Carrey's The Grinch is the best part, for sure. And then the last one I have is The Mask. Again, classic, although I haven't seen The Mask for a very long time, probably since the 90s. So maybe, wait, when did it come out? Probably like a couple years after it came out is the last time I watched it, but I did love it, but maybe I should watch it again. Solar eclipse is going through my part of the continent, or pretty close. We're gonna drive a few hours and then we'll be like right in the path of totality. That's what it is, I think. But yeah, that's gonna be really exciting. That's been on my bucket list for a really long time, which, a bucket list is one of my later questions. What's my favorite TV theme song? Oh, wow. Why can't I think of the name of I'm not gonna get stuck on it. There is one. I love it. I love the theme song for The Crown. I think it's really like I really like instrumentals like that. Um, there's probably a bunch I'm missing, but I know one, but I can't even think of the name of the show. I'm blanking on it. Um, do do do. Okay, Super Bowl Sunday. It is Super Bowl Sunday, so thanks everyone who showed up, especially if you like Super Bowl. How is it going? I heard Kansas was winning or was winning. My dad had said he's watching, but we're not really a football family. Um, who am I rooting for? I'll have to say the Chiefs only because they're winning, and that's all I know about the teams. Okay, next question is, if I could be any aquatic animal, what would it be and why? Oh, okay, so the 49ers are winning now, I guess. Okay, so maybe I'm just gonna root for whoever's winning. So I'm gonna root for the winning team. But the next question is, if I could be any aquatic animal, what would it be and why? I had two answers because I couldn't decide. My first answer was a dolphin, and I feel like the reasoning is because dolphins are very smart, and I feel like if I were to be an animal, I would want to be one that's a little bit smarter. But my other answer is a sea dragon, just because they look so freaking majestic. Like, you can't have a more majestic animal than a sea dragon. It doesn't exist. Um, One thing I'm not sure if I've mentioned yet on my channel, but when I was younger, I really wanted to be a marine biologist for like 2 years. You know, when like you're a young kid and you just decide you're gonna be a job even though you know nothing about what it actually entails. So I had wanted to be a marine biologist. And so for years and years, all my Christmas gifts from one side of the family were just fish related things like stuffed animals, books, movies. They were like, this is the only piece of information we know about Maple's personality, so we're going to just get her fish things. But yeah, I learned that it required a lot of desk work instead of diving in the ocean and swimming with fish, so I decided against that one. I was born in a good year for movies. 94 was like the golden year of cinema. I don't know what they called it exactly, but a lot of people said it was a really good year for movies. Um, what musical instrument triggers my feelings the best? That's an interesting question. I'd say like at Like, if I'm saying just an instrument with its tone, I'd say a violin. I feel like a violin is able to capture a lot of emotion, and yet it's still very, very, very technical. So I feel like it's a good balance of, yeah, the technicality and the emotion. Um, but I would probably choose the guitar for myself because I can't play the violin, even though I own one. I should probably learn. My next question is best things about living in Canada. Um, I found this question a little bit interesting since I have traveled quite a bit. Although a lot of the countries I've traveled in have had like similar um, cultures to Canada, so it hasn't been like, a huge culture shock, except for Spain. Let me just switch what I'm doing. Get my gua sha stick. But yeah, so the first few countries I lived in, like New Zealand and Australia, um, I didn't really find that huge of a culture difference. So it's very hard to like describe, like, oh, Canada does this because other places do a lot of similar things. Um, I'd say one of the biggest things though is like our wilderness, especially because I lived in BC for a while. So like just the mountains and like northern Ontario, beautiful, the lakes. We just have lots of beautiful scenery. Although the city I live in is not known for its beautiful scenery, I'll put it at that. But I can travel to other places in Canada and it's very beautiful there. Um, and the other thing I really like about Canada, and this is going to sound weird, but traveling overseas is very nice when you're a Canadian because a lot of people treat you really well because Canada's known as a nice country, or like the people are known to be stereotypically nice. So I find that when you're overseas and you're like, "Oh, I'm a Canadian," people are like, "Oh, that's so nice," and then they want to ask you questions and stuff like that. One time, even I was at an airport and we were getting baggage, and someone had a piece of luggage with a Canadian flag on it. And so they grabbed their bag, and I was like, "Oh, where in Canada are you from?" And they go, "Oh, no, 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 I'm an American. I just put a Canadian flag on my bag because then people treat me a lot nicer in the airports," which I thought was pretty hilarious and is probably true knowing the amount of traveling I've done and interacting with people, but I just thought that was so funny. Next question is, where does my family come from? So my dad his family is mostly from England. His parents, so my grandparents, were both born in England, and they both moved to Canada before my dad was born. So he's a first generation Canadian. And there's a little bit of French there and a little bit of Welsh, but mostly British. And then my mom is German. She is German because we just did a what are those, like the 23andMe chromosome DNA test things, and my mom's thing came back as 99.96 German, which is crazy if you've ever taken one of those tests. Like normally there's like 3% here, 14% there, 20% there, but like 99% German is pretty crazy. But yeah, like my grandparents, my Oma and Opa, they had lived in Hungary and Yugoslavia when it was still Yugoslavia, but they were like their family was from Germany, so they're German. My next question is, what is my favorite color? And my favorite color, fire truck red, which is surprising because I don't actually own a lot of stuff that's fire truck red. I just love like retro Coca-Cola stuff. I had a dream that my kitchen when I grew up was going to be all like black, fire truck red, and stainless steel. I don't know why. I still think that would look really cool, but yeah, I have a fire truck red KitchenAid stand mixer, so I've got one appliance so far. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, and it's gonna be great. So I wanted to ask you guys too. How are you guys doing? It's February now. Have your resolutions gone well for January? Is there anything you're up to? We've been having a unusually warm winter here. Like it's barely snowed. It's been like 5 degrees almost every single day. It's kind of crazy a little bit, but yeah, it should be good. Then my next question is, what is my favorite meal and my favorite dessert? Although I just realized the heater came on because I forgot to turn it off. I'm gonna run and I'll be right back. Don't move. Okay, I'm back. You can't just say my New Year's resolution was super awesome and then just not say what your New Year's resolution is. That's not something that you're allowed to do. Do they have yellow fire trucks? Is that a thing? I mean, I guess I would not like the yellow fire trucks. They probably wouldn't be as nice. Ich spreche Deutsch. Ein bisschen, ein bisschen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Schmetterling. Yeah, that's about it. I've probably known a little bit more throughout my life. My mom actually, her first language was German, but she's fallen out of practice since not knowing any German friends over here. Okay, let's switch to my little pokey tool, which I still have not named. I like to call, I don't know if I like pointy tool or pokey tool better, or if I should just come up with a brand new name for it. I don't know. Das ist verboten. I know that one. And ich liebe dich. I know that one. That one I know as well. You're not going to make any more resolutions. What a great resolution. It's a very like, I wish for 1,000 more wishes kind of thing. So my favorite meal and favorite dessert. So I would probably have to choose either curry or pizza, because I feel like those two are the kinds of foods where if someone was like, hey, would you like curry or would you like pizza? I would never say no. I would never be like, no, I'm not in the mood for curry or pizza. Like maybe once out of 100 times if it was offered to me. But yeah, those are the kinds of foods I would never be like, nah. I would always say yes to those. And then for dessert, I have to go with pecan pie or like a butter tart. Those are just like, you can't, like, I've never had a bad pecan pie or a bad butter tart. That's just a thing that doesn't happen. And then a couple people had actually asked if I like to cook or if I like to bake or something along those lines. But maybe some of you don't know, but I actually went to culinary school right out of high school. So a long time ago now, since, well, not long, but a while ago now, since I'm turning 30. Yeah, so I worked in the food and beverage industry for 8 years. 3 of those or 4 of those was as a cook. So I can actually cook pretty well. Also, Stabby McStabby Face is a great name and is now what this thing is gonna be called. But yeah, so I do like to cook. I do like to bake. I had fallen off of it for a little while, especially right after I had worked as a cook for so long. Uh, because when you do something for work, it's very hard to find passion in the thing. I'm sure a lot of you understand that. Like, if you do something for your work, like, it's hard to do it in your, like, it's hard to cook for 8 hours or 16 hours and then come home and then cook more. It just doesn't feel nice. So I've gotten a lot back into it more recently. But I only ever cook now with very, very low pressure, low stress, no time commitments. Just because if you've worked in a kitchen, you know it's incredibly stressful. And so it's my Zen place now. Don't want any time restrictions there. And so people had asked similarly, what do I like to cook? And some of you may know that the main restaurant I worked at as a cook, it was a brunch restaurant. So I've always been big into brunch food. My specialty is eggs Benedict. I just find that, especially because I've made it so many times, like it's very easy for me to make the dish now, and yet it's a very fancy thing. Like, people, if you make your own hollandaise, like whisking it together, people are like, "Wow, that's crazy." Um, but yeah, so I find that it's kind of impressive to cook for other people, and yet I don't know, I find it quite easy still, and it's delicious. So yeah, it's pretty good. Um, how old am I? I'm 30. I think it's in the name of the live stream, but yeah, I'm turning 30. Although I'm 29 right now. I've still got 1 week. So if anyone has any suggestions of things I should do for the last week of my 20s, I am all ears. But let's go over to the chat and see what do. Thank you for all the happy birthday wishes, everyone. Oh, I'm glad you felt more positive, Ben. That's really good. Stabby McStabby face. Yep, we've been over that. And how old am I? 30. Beer, wine. I don't really like beer, which a lot of you will find crazy. I just find that beer is way too, what's it called? Carbonated. Like, it makes me feel all like bloated and weird. And I find that I can't drink a lot. But yeah, like, I'm okay with it if it's like a very flavorful craft beer. I can like sip it. But honestly, like, a pint of beer, it takes me like an hour to drink a pint of beer if I'm trying. Like, if I really tried, I could maybe do half an hour, but yeah, I'm not going to be drinking tons and tons and tons of beer. It is an acquired taste. I've tried to acquire it. I've drunk a lot of beer, still haven't acquired it. Sweet or dry wine? Normally, I like drier wine. So normally for reds, I would normally go for like a Merlot, maybe a Pinot Noir, and for white, usually an oak Chardonnay. If I'm drinking a white, 99% chance it's an oak Chardonnay because that's just my favorite type of wine. Okay, let's tap on this comb. This is one of my favorite things to tap on. Because because like sometimes you can tap with nails or the pads of your fingers. You can't really do it with the comb, but even with nails, I find this very soothing. Like, it's not an aggressive tap. Next question. What do I like to do in my leisure time? I'm going to have a lot of answers that are like the typical people answers, like hanging out with friends or watching Netflix. I'm just gonna skip over those ones, just assume that I do all the normal people things as well. But some of my favorite things that aren't super normal, I really love snowboarding. If you aren't aware, I worked at ski hills for 4.5 years, I think. So I did a lot of snowboarding in those times. I really enjoyed it. Haven't been out a lot this year because it has barely snowed. Other than that, I love guitar. I play a little bit of piano, but usually if I'm feeling musical, I'll play guitar because it just feels more, it's like an emotional outlet, and I find it's easier to convey emotions on a guitar versus a piano, I guess. Like, it's not impossible, but yeah, I just find it easier to do. Um, and then I also love painting. I've done a live stream before where I painted on camera. I'm not a good painter. I enjoy doing it. Those are two different things, but even though I'm not good, I still enjoy it. And then other than that, I love video games. I love board games. I actually just did a Patreon exclusive video where I went through some of my favorite board games and talked about those, which that was fun. I love board games. I think I have like 87. I think last time I checked, I've got a lot of board games. And video games. I forget if I mentioned that, but video games as well. I'm a Nintendo girl at heart, so Zelda, Mario, anything on Nintendo, probably gonna love it. I've drunk a lot of beer. I mean, not that much beer, but I've drunk an amount where I feel like if the taste was going to be acquired, it would have been acquired by now. And I have not acquired the taste of beer, so wine it is. Next question. I'm not sure if this one was serious or not, but I'm going to answer it regardless. But someone has asked if I've ever considered being a hand model because I have nice hands, I guess. Let's switch to gentle hand movements. Which I found that so funny because my Oma, my grandma growing up, she always said I had like piano player fingers because my fingers are like longer than, I don't know, I have like long, slender fingers, I guess. Um, Although I was never that good at piano, so I don't know. I was only adequate. Oh, you wear Triforce cufflinks to work? That's actually really cool. I actually have a Zelda tattoo. Can't show you guys on camera. I think I have a picture of it on my Instagram, maybe. If not, send me a thing somewhere and I can show you. But I have a bottled fairy, like Navi the fairy, but in a bottle. And my best friend has a kind of matching tattoo of the Triforce because we got them at the same time by the same artist. And we both love Zelda, so we both got different Zelda tattoos. My next question, we are moving into some birthday specific questions. Oh, I forgot. I meant to bring up a birthday hat. I should have. Anyways, don't have a birthday hat. Just pretend I'm wearing a really silly hat right now. That's all you need to do. So my first birthday question was, what is the best birthday present I've ever gotten? And the best birthday present I've ever gotten is my best friend. Actually, this was this trip. Okay, this is tying into the previous question. Now I need to figure out where to tie it in. So my friend, this was when I was living in Australia, and my best friend wanted to come and visit me. And my birthday was coming up, so he's like, I bought a plane ticket to Australia for your birthday. And it was amazing. We had a great 2 weeks, I think he was there. But yeah, it was obviously amazing that a friend would be willing to fly to Australia for my birthday. He was meaning to have a vacation anyway, so it's not that he spent it just to visit me, but we did lots of cool stuff. But yeah, that was the trip where we both got the Zelda tattoos. Um, so yeah, that was part of my birthday, I guess, was getting a tattoo, even though it wasn't. Um, we did a lot of expensive things that trip, which next question was most fun I've had centered around my birthday, which would definitely be this, like that birthday in Australia, because we did so much. And um, you guys might think like, wow, look at this girl. She's doing all this crazy stuff. Let me tell you that I didn't do anything for like 3 months to save up for this trip because I knew it was going to be so expensive. Um, but my friend, because he was coming so far to Australia, he was like, okay, let's do two really big things. I'll choose one and you choose one. And yeah, we have to do the activity. And so my friend chose skydiving, and I happened to choose scuba diving. And because of the way the schedule worked out, we had to do them like back to back, like one day into another. So one day we were literally like 20,000 feet in the sky, however high up you are for skydiving. And then the next day we were like diving below the ocean. And so we were joking about how we had spent 2 days as far away from sea level as we possibly could. Um, we also joked we spent 1 day going up and 1 day going down, but yeah, and then we also got tattoos. I spent so much money on that trip, and then I had to not do anything for months after it to save up some more money again. But it was a crazy couple of weeks. It was very much like, in Parks and Rec, the treat yourself day, but it was kinda like 2 weeks of treat yourself. We were like, "Yeah, whatever we want, we're gonna get it." Okay, over to the chat. What's going on over here? How was my birthday? My birthday is not until next week. I've got a lot of cool stuff planned. Oh, I guess I'll share, I've mentioned on Patreon a couple of times, but one thing I'm really excited for in a couple of weeks, I'm going to a lawyer's ball. It's the prom for my friend who's just graduating out of law school in the States. And they're actually calling it a prom, which, first of all, I'm like, wow, I'm going to an American prom. I'm really excited to go to an American prom just because in all the movies, they're always so crazy. Let me switch to my little stipple brush. Stipple. I can also do some little brushes. But yeah, so I'm going to a lawyer's ball. That's going to be crazy exciting. And the funniest thing was I was telling my friend that I wanted to have a Great Gatsby themed party for my birthday this year to kind of like, like finishing off the 20s because, the 20s, Great Gatsby. And the prom is Great Gatsby themed. So I'm winning all around. Was there not something where you could skydive into the sea? I would do that if that was a thing. I would skydive into the sea. That sounds incredibly exciting. Next question I have is where do I see myself on my 80th birthday? So I was thinking about how to answer this question, and the best answer I could come up with was still doing ASMR videos. Because that's the only thing I can think of that like concrete in my head I still want, or I would still want. Because I'm not the kind of person to plan very far in advance. Like I'm barely even the kind of person to plan for next week. I'm the kind of person who's like, hey, you want to go on a trip around the world tomorrow? Let's do that. So, Yeah, I can't really plan for my 80th, but I've always said that, like, one of the best things about doing ASMR slash having a YouTube channel is that, once you get to retirement age, you can just scale back what you're doing. So, like, I can still make videos, but, I could just do, like, one a month if, I'm semi-retired, and then I still have, like, something to do, a hobby, and yeah, so 80th birthday, still gonna be doing ASMR. You heard it here first. Is ASMR even gonna be a thing in 50 years? Who knows? Maybe it's something different. Oh, yeah, it would be like VR ASMR, which that would be pretty cool. Next question. Bucket list items for my 20s, as in, like, what things did I do in my 20s? The biggest one that I had thought of ahead of time, although I actually finished 2 years ago, I really wanted to visit 30 countries before I turned 30, which I did. The last one was Portugal 2 years ago. And I think I'm going to keep that up. I think I'm going to do like 40 countries by 40 and 50 countries by 50. I feel like that's a good way to force yourself to experience things because, yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they have, their favorite vacation spot and they'll go back over and over again, which is fine. Like if you love a place, like that's amazing. But yeah, for me personally, I really like new things. And so I think that's a nice way to like force myself to do new things. Like Tears of the Kingdom. What do you mean by like Tears of the Kingdom? As in my Zelda tattoo? I guess it's just like from, like, it's not from a specific game. I just came up with the concept myself. Layovers do not count as visiting. You heard it here first, unless you leave the airport, which I have done before just to say I've visited a country. And then I had to go through security just to say I had visited the country, but worth it. Next question. Sorry, I forgot from the previous question about bucket list items because I've had something on my list for a really long time. I'm gonna move back to my big brush. But I still haven't done it. And so this is gonna be my big bucket list item for my 30s, I guess. I've always wanted to jump into the ocean where you can't see the ground and you can't see like any land. I don't know how to describe this, but yeah, I'd seen this picture of like a diver like diving into the ocean and like it was just blue, 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 blue. Like the diver was this big and the picture was like that big. And I love the idea of feeling like so in awe of the world. And I feel like that would be a really cool way to just experience being small in the universe, like in a kind of like humbling, you know, I don't know how to describe it correctly, but I've always wanted to do that. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's something I've always wanted to do. But yeah, next question, which I still don't even know what Ben meant by this. He had said, which historical figure would you be down to clown? I don't know if he meant this in a not safe for work way or not, but I'm going to go in the not safe for work. So the safe for work version of wanting to hang out with someone. If I could hang out with a historical figure, it would be Anne Boleyn, probably. There might be a better answer that I'm just not thinking of, but I have always loved Anne Boleyn. There's something about the Tudor era, War of the Roses, England, Europe in general, that I love that era. Just like the political drama, but it all happened in real life is baffling to me. And Anne Boleyn has always held a very special place in my heart, because she got the king of a country to change the religion of that country just so that he could marry her. Like that's crazy. Like what a strong person to have the king of England change the religion just for you. Crazy. And then also give birth to Queen Elizabeth the First. Like those are both really amazing things to do. But yeah, I've always loved Anne Boleyn. What's a bucket list ASMR video? Ooh, bucket list ASMR video. Okay, this is actually a bucket list ASMR video I've had for a very long time. Let me know what you guys think. But some of you may know I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. My mom almost named me Arwen, actually, because she loves Lord of the Rings and she passed it on to me. So I love Lord of the Rings. I've always had the idea of doing a role play where I'm Gollum and you, the viewer, are the ring. And so the video would be, like me polishing the ring and being like, "Oh, my precious." But the thing is, I can't do the voice in a way that would be ASMR-y. Like, I feel like it's possible, but I feel like I don't physically have the capabilities to do the nuance of a Gollum voice in ASMR. Precious. Okay, but my brother can do the voice really, really well, so maybe I'll just ask him for tips and advice. But yeah. Oh, and Gonzalo, I do have your questions coming up later, but I will get to your questions at one point because I have all the ASMR ones all together. Oh, Ben did mean it in the not safe for work way. I don't know. Are there any like historical figures that were like attractive? I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I'll look into it. I'm taking this very, very seriously. Oh, you're turning 36 for the solar eclipse. That's actually pretty cool. Okay. I was gonna do the Gollum and the Smeagol voice because you could do like kind of the two, and then you could have one that's a bit more gravelly and one that's a bit more smooth. But yeah, I don't know. Washing his cat off of a hairball, probably. Next question I have is what got me into ASMR? So I have been watching ASMR personally for like 12 years, a very long time, since before it was even called ASMR. I started watching originally. The first channel would be, if anyone knows this, it was a channel called Whisper Crystal, which is actually a reason why I put whispers in my name, which I don't whisper a lot now. I mean, I do whisper, but I mostly do soft spoken. But yeah, I loved Whisper Crystal. She's never been on camera. She hasn't posted for over 10 years. But I used to love her role plays. And this was before it was ASMR, and it was just a random role play. I don't even know how I found her videos. Probably just Googling, like, can't sleep or something like that. And then through her, I found, Maria Gentle Whispering, and then other channels, ASMR requests and stuff like that. And yeah, I've always wanted to do ASMR. Like I've watching it, I've always thought like, oh, that's something I think I would be able to do, and I think I would be able to do well. And it's something that I'm passionate about. It's something I enjoy. But I'm very shy, as maybe you can tell doing this live stream. I'm awkward in front of the camera sometimes, so I just never thought about actually doing it until I was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into ASMR. I was in a low point and I needed a new hobby. So I was like, I'm gonna try ASMR. And I recorded like 2 videos, just like 10 minutes long. And I didn't have a microphone. It was just with like headphones with the little mic. And I just hated the audio quality. Like, I didn't like how they had turned out. And so I just never posted them. I have now. I don't know. Oh, I forget what it's called, but in my videos you'll be able to find it. I've posted these 2 videos since then, and yeah, so I never posted those videos. And then 2 years later, my roommate at the time had come home. He had had a bad day, and he was like, "Oh, I bought myself a microphone so I can start doing streaming on, Twitch, just like video game streaming." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What microphone?" And he was like, "Oh, it's a Blue Yeti." And I was like, "Oh, that's the ASMR mic. It's like a sign from the gods." And so I think it was the next day I recorded something, and it turned out okay. So I don't think I posted that one, but then, I did all the branding and made an actual video, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can actually do this." And the response to the first video was better than I thought it would be. And like obviously not tons and tons of views, but like the views that I did get, um, they were very encouraging, and they were like, "Oh, you have what it takes. Like, you're not there yet, but like if you develop your skills, like you would be able to be really good." And yeah, I just thought it was so nice to have that encouragement, and so I just kept going and I kept getting nice comments, and here we are today. I think since I posted that first video, the longest I've been without posting a video has been like 5 days, which is crazy for me. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been super nice. Okay, let's check the chat over here. No Jenkinsing, it's almost spring. I feel like it's been spring this whole season. Like, I feel like we didn't actually get winter other than like 2 days. I don't actually know. Okay, so people are actually kind of liking the Gollum idea, so I'm gonna talk to my brother, practice the voice, see if I can do it without actually destroying my vocal cords, and yeah, we're gonna see if we can do it. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of snipping, so just to prepare you, the scissors are coming out. I'll try to do it a little bit, not very thing. I made a few ASMR videos recently, and the comment section was so much. Yeah, that's one thing I found too, is that the comment section in ASMR videos is normally way better than, an average YouTube comment section, which is very, very nice. Obviously, you still get negative comments every once in a while, but in general, it's pretty good. Would I wear a bald cap as Colin? I feel like I would just wear my regular hair, but like, I don't know, style it in a way. I don't know. I feel like that would be too much to get a bald cap. Maybe I should just go all in. I feel like maybe it should just be like 0 or 100. I don't know if I should. Yeah, if I just go in 50%, people will be like, "Oh, you weren't even trying." But next question was, what was it like when I first entered the world of ASMR? So, like I was saying, I've been watching ASMR for a very long time, and I only entered the creator part of ASMR like 2 years ago now. So I feel like it hasn't changed too much in the last 2 years. I feel like it's kind of leveled out for the most part. Like, you're always going to have trends that come and go, creators that come and go, but I feel like right now it's a very steady sphere, I guess, especially since it's kind of developed into this bigger thing with so many subcategories and so many different triggers and so many different ways to go about it. But yeah, so I feel like it's not too much different from when I started. Just dropped my scissors on the floor, so now I'm going to change to plucking. Next question is, what ASMR channels do I like to watch? So starting with the older channels, I got into Whisper Crystal, my first channel, which if you haven't heard of Whisper Crystal, like go back and see one of like her classic like Turkish baths. That was a good one. She does very good like luxury, like top tier, like 6-star resort kind of luxury role plays. That's the word. But they're very, very, very well done, especially for like more than 10 years ago. Can I believe I have 260 videos? I cannot. That's actually a lot of videos. I can't believe I've gotten to that many. And I think there's actually a couple hidden. There's like a few of my older videos. If they just didn't perform that well, I just hid them. But yeah, I know it's a crazy amount of videos. I'm always making videos. I can't believe I have that many. Like 10 years from now, how many videos am I going to have? That's actually crazy. Oh, hi, Ross. Also, hi, everyone who's shown up recently. It's lovely to see you. If anyone has any ASMR specific questions for me, you can ask them, by the way, or if you have any questions. But yeah, I'm trying to do it in chunks because I have a tendency of getting off the rails. So I'm trying to keep myself in the rails. What are some triggers you like that you don't do in your own videos? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if there's any that I don't do. There's some triggers that I would say like some people do better than me. But I feel like as an artist, like the one of the biggest perks is to do what you would want to see in a video. So anytime I feel like there's a gap in, like, oh, I wish this video existed. Hey, guess what? I can make that video. So yeah, I don't know if there's any triggers that I don't do. I'll think on that one, though, and I'll get back to you. But in my country, the local currency is not available. Oh, I feel like you can pay in many different currencies. I don't know if you can pay in every single currency, but I know when I look at like my payment page, it shows up like what currency everyone's paying in, and how much. So it'll be like, this person's paying 5 American, this person's paying 750 Canadian, this person's paying 4 Great British pounds. I don't know what the conversion rates are, but yeah, send me an email and I'll see if I can figure out something for you. Oh, channels I watch. That's what I was. See, I get off the rails very easily. So yeah, I started with Whisper Crystal. Obviously, Gentle Whispering was a big part of the early ASMR community. ASMR requests, I watched her a lot too. Heather Feather, that was definitely one of my big channels, at the beginning of my ASMR watching career. And then nowadays, Jelly Bean Green, love Jelly Bean Green. Two of my buddies who I've made collabs with, Tingle Storm, love her. She does really good medical role plays, really good for tingles. If you want tingles, go to Tingle Storm. It's in the name. And Jonathan Thorson ASMR, he does echo kind of, it's very kind of like ambiance, that word. Ambiotic, is that a word? That sounds silly. I don't like that. But yeah, he'll do a lot of like Reiki, echo effect, stuff like that. Oh, and also Morica. Her voice, especially for a female, oh my goodness, crazy. I love her voice so much. I did a collab with her recently as well. Who else? For like guided meditations and Reiki, since I've been getting into that a lot recently. I really like Ediya ASMR, Ediya. Love her for guided meditations. Fantastic. And I don't know how to pronounce her name. Semidi. I've only seen it written down. I don't think I've actually heard it. She does like again like Reiki, or she'll do like a real person massage. She does a lot of like Eastern medicine, like acupuncture and Reiki, that kind of stuff. Any collabs in the works? I will be doing one with Tingle Storm, actually. I think next month, maybe April. I don't know. But we are talking about it, and me and Thorson as well. We're probably going to do a collab in the next couple months, but we haven't even talked about the video. We've just said that we would like to do one. So that those two are in the works. And there's one other one, but that one will be for a while, so I won't even mention it because of reasons. Okay, that one is for that one. Now I've got to go to the next page. We've finally made it. Also, hello everyone who's joined recently. Welcome, welcome. We are currently talking about ASMR related questions. If you want to ask me any ASMR related questions. And then after that, we're going to be getting into some more deeper personal questions. So if you want to ask me some deeper personal questions, I'd also love to hear those. I actually really like answering deeper questions, so feel free to ask me whatever you want. Like, obviously, I can veto a question, but I'm going to try to answer them all. So next question is, how did I learn to develop my ASMR skills? Which is a very good question. And I feel like the biggest thing is that because I've been watching ASMR for over 10 years, like I've seen all the trends come and go. I've seen like what things have stayed consistent. And so it's easy to, I guess, do those things subconsciously, even because I just know they're like an integral part of ASMR, if that makes sense. Like it's something, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So yeah, like the things that have been part of ASMR, like, and they haven't changed, I feel like it's just like a natural thing for me. And then nowadays, whenever I watch ASMR, I have a note on my phone, and if I see things that I like, things that I don't like, I'll put it into the note. It actually makes it very difficult for me to watch ASMR nowadays because I find myself being very critical while I'm watching it. Instead of getting relaxed, I'm like, "Ooh, I like that thing she did. I'm gonna make a note of it." And then I'm not falling asleep anymore, but gotta do research. And I'd say the other biggest thing on how to like develop ASMR skills, there's actually a lot that goes into ASMR, like a lot more than you would think. And so for me, like if I want to change the way I do something or add something new, I try to only do one new thing at a time. So I don't try to do a video like I'm going to do this new thing, this new thing, this new thing, this new thing, because you're not going to remember it. And the whole video, you're going to be like, what am I doing? And it's going to feel very unnatural. And so, yeah, I just try to, it's like for this video, I'm going to try not breathing as loud. And for this video, I'm going to try to speak a bit slower, and for this video I'm gonna add in this new hand movement that I really liked. But yeah, I don't try to add in too much. Yeah, I do need to be more mindful and just experience the ASMR, but it's very hard to like, especially when I see something I really like and I'm like, I want to do this. It's hard to just like I'm not going to remember it tomorrow if I don't write it down, so I have to write it down. And then I'm going to be mad at myself if I don't write it down. Okay, Justin asked, what is my favorite ASMR trigger? Which was actually my next question anyways. So 2 birds, 1 stone. My favorite ASMR trigger, actually I'll change to flashlight. So light warning, let me test out both of the lights because I'm not used to this webcam. So that's my very bright one. Oh, that makes a cool light effect. And I don't know which one I like better. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, there. So I really like that light effect. I kind of wish I had that on my camera, but oh well. So yeah, flashlights are my favorite trigger of all time. And I also really like stippling. Stippling, like when it first came out, blew my mind. That was my favorite thing. Still is. But in general, I really like role plays, like medical role plays, anything like that. Although recently I've been getting a lot more into Reiki and kind of stuff like that. Which is why I've been watching more like Edia ASMR and stuff like that. And which is why that reflects what I'm making as well. I've been making more Reiki and guided meditations. But yeah, the triggers themselves would be flashlight and stipple, 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 stipple. But those are my 2 favorites. I have a lot more favorites, but I just wanted to pick 2 so I didn't have too many. My next question is, the person had asked if I had to choose a specific special role play. I'm assuming they meant like a role play that I've done and like one that I really liked. I feel like a lot of the times the ones that I like the most don't perform as well, because normally if you're doing something different, it's harder for it to perform as well with the YouTube algorithm because people aren't searching for it if it's something that's new. Let me just get in a little bit. Okay, good. Wait. Okay, good. Okay, that's enough flashlight. I'll go back to my gua sha stick. But yeah, so I figure like the videos that I'm always the most passionate about are usually the ones that don't perform as well, which, it doesn't matter. That's not why I make them. But yeah, so I'd say the one that I really like personally is my Mr. Rogers role play. I had kind of done like an homage to Mr. Rogers, and I had done a whole episode, like where I come in and sit down and take off my shoes and give a little life lesson. And then I had a little like finger puppet thing, and so I had the little finger puppets that I was talking to. I loved making that one so much. It was a lot of work for like a 12-minute video, but it was so much fun to make. I loved making that one so much. Like just playing with the little finger puppets. Yeah, I would love to do a Mr. Rogers sequel, but yeah, it's just so much work. So it's hard to. It's like once you're in it and you don't know it's going to be that much work, it's okay because you're like, whatever, I'm going to do it to finish it. But now that I know how much work it's going to take, it's hard to convince myself to make another one. Okay, next question. Just a couple more ASMR ones. So my next question is, what are my next projects for the channel? So I feel like mostly right now, because I had worked a lot on my mindfulness series, which I loved so much and was super passionate about. But again, it was a lot of work for like the research and I really wanted to do it justice, so I put a lot of work into those videos. So I feel like for the next little while, I'm really excited to kind of just like take the foot off the gas a little bit and just do some kind of very easy, simple kind of videos. Not like super duper simple, but, just less work than those videos. So I'd like to do some more like silly role plays. I feel like I haven't done a silly role play in a while, and I like adding like a little bit of humor into ASMR sometimes. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't laugh at the world, then what's even the point? Someone had given me this idea. I still don't know if I'm gonna do it for sure, but it's like a space bartender, and I feel like that could be a cool, like kind of like the apothecary video with like different effects once you drink the different drinks, because that's how sci-fi works, isn't it? But I feel like that would be really cool. I'm also planning, and I'm very excited about this one. I'm gonna do an Avatar: The Last Airbender role play, coming out the same day that the new thing is released on Netflix, which I think is the 22nd. But yeah, I'm gonna do like a waterbender healing you kind of role play. And then we'll do a little bit of chakra alignment because of the chakra man who's in Avatar. But I love Avatar. If you don't know, my first ever tattoo is from Avatar. So I'm really, 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 really excited for that one. So I hope you guys enjoy that one. And what else am I planning on doing? Oh, I haven't done this yet, but I was thinking of doing like an open poll, like just one of those like monkey survey, whatever they're called, and put it on the ASMR subreddit and ask for everyone's favorite triggers. And then I'll get as many answers as possible and then do a countdown of everyone's favorite triggers. So I don't know if it would be 20 or 25 or 50, or it'll depend on how many responses I get. But I feel like that would be really cool to count down, and then, you can get excited to see how far your trigger made it or anything like that. I don't know if I would be Okay, so my tattoo is the air nomad symbol, so like the three little swirlies. Um, and so everyone says that they think I would be an airbender, but I feel like in reality I would be a waterbender, but I like the symbol of the air nomads better. And also I love just like the Buddhist monk kind of culture that it was based off of. So if I was a bender, I would probably be a waterbender, but I don't know, I've got a little bit of air in me as well. Ooh, pop rocks. Pop rocks is a great idea. I'm gonna make a note of that. 1 second. Pop rocks. Okay. Next question. What are some of my goals for the future? So I wanted to do something that was kind of ASMR related. Kind of not, you'll see what I mean. But I've had this idea recently. This would be like a long time from now, or at least a few years, but I would love to one day open up like a holistic resort. And have, like yoga and meditation and like live Reiki treatments, like live ASMR experiences, like massages. We would encourage you to not have your phone on you. We would have like local farm to table vegetarian meals. I don't know, I just love the idea of that, just kind of like a getaway from the world, you know, focusing on, like mental wellness and, like general well-being, uh, and yeah, incorporating some ASMR treatments, not happy ending ASMR treatments, nothing like that. This is a very PG-13 family resort, or maybe not family, but it's not safe for work. But yeah, I just love the idea of that. And I feel like with my background in the food and beverage industry, especially since I've worked in a lot in the touristic food and beverage industry, I feel like I have those skills. I have my MBA, so like I understand the basics of business. And so I feel like I have all the components to make it happen. Obviously, I would need some other people. There would be some areas where I'm lacking, especially on like the business end. But yeah, I feel like that would be a really, really, really cool place slash thing. Um, but yeah, so 10 years from now, y'all can come to Maple Ranch or whatever I call it. Ooh, maybe like Maple Forest, because maple is kind of tree. We're gonna workshop the name, but it's gonna happen. You guys are gonna come. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lovely time. You're gonna see. And I think this is my last ASMR question. Yeah, is someone had asked, how do I think ASMR could be incorporated into healthcare? Uh, Slash, do I think it would be helpful? Um, and I actually have a really interesting thing for this because a few months ago, I had gotten an email from a doctor who specialized in neuro, and he was telling me how a lot of his patients used ASMR for different types of neurological conditions. And he asked me a few questions, and yeah, I just found that really, really interesting. But he was saying that, yeah, a lot of people are already using ASMR as kind of a sub thing to help their other treatments. I don't know if there's too many like specific cases where like a doctor would prescribe ASMR, but I do think it can be helpful for like headaches or just like stress, general wellness. I think it can be used for a lot of mental wellness. Again, I don't know if it would be like in the realm of doctors or if it would just be a doctor being like, hey, I've heard that this can help. Maybe you can try. But maybe at the Maple Holistic Wellness Ranch or Maple Oasis Syrup Farm, we do have a doctor who does ASMR, so maybe that's a thing that can happen. Am I hoping to move to another country again soon, or am I looking to stick around in Canada? I am looking to stick around in Canada for the most part for the next little while. I feel like I'm in a kind of settly down phase, not completely, but also houses are way too expensive, so I don't know if I can settle down. So maybe I just won't settle down because I can't. But yeah, I don't have any plans, but who knows? But that goes into my next question, which is plans for international travel, specifically to Melbourne, Australia, which I've already been to Melbourne, Australia. I'm so sorry. I'm probably not going to go there again in the near future. Uh, it's actually tying it back in again. That's the city where me and my best friend got the Zelda tattoos. So I got a tattoo in your city, so a piece of me will always be there in some weird, strange way. Yeah, I feel that's a way that I feel like ASMR can help in the medical way, like, yeah, just, like, helping you to de-stress from whatever ailment or thing that's happening, especially, the doctor who was talking to me, he had mentioned how I think he had mentioned how someone would, like, what sometimes you have to have, like, awake brain surgery, and so I guess that's a thing that some people do is watch ASMR while they're having brain surgery while they're awake because it's a way for them to like focus their attention on not what's happening over there. But yeah, I do think it is beneficial in some ways. Have I ever traveled to Texas? I have not traveled to Texas. I haven't been too much in the south part of the states. Um, I went to Disney World, the Florida one, when I was very young. I don't really remember it too much. And I've been to California, like San Francisco, for a layover, but I got off of the plane, so it counts. um, I would love to go to Louisiana. Like, I really want to go to Louisiana, like New Orleans. So I will probably tie in some other states while I do that trip. But yeah, I want to go to the south of the states at some point. Let's go back to the comb so I can tap on something very gently. But other places I would like to travel to, I really want to go to Southeast Asia. That's been on the top of my list for a very long time. Like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. I've heard a lot of people do that trip, and every single person loved it. Although, one funny thing I find is that every single person you talk to will like love and hate completely different countries. Like, they'll be like, Vietnam was way better than the other ones, and I hated Thailand. And then you'll talk to someone and they'll be like, Laos is the best, and Vietnam wasn't as good. But yeah, I find that really interesting. So I have to go and be my own judge. Other than that, I would really love to go to Italy. I've been there before, but on a cruise. And so I was just in each city for one day. And so I would love to go back and actually like explore the cities and like the countryside. And I love everything about Italy. I'm probably going to gain like 10 pounds on that trip, but completely worth it just to eat pizza and pasta and wine. Sounds like a dream. And then, other than that, I also really want to go to Ireland and Scotland. I've been to England and I've been to Wales, and so I want to complete the Great British four countryism. Greetings from upstate New York. Oh, I've been to upstate New York. That's one that I've been to. The movie Police Academy: Four Citizens of Patrol was filmed in Toronto, Canada. Toronto, Canada is not actually my hometown. I lived there for 3 years. I won't tell you where I'm actually from because I don't want to dox myself, but it's from close enough in Canadian terms. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff filmed in Toronto because it's cheaper to film a lot of the times in Canada compared to America. So a lot of the times when a movie is supposed to be in New York, they'll film it in Toronto. And if they're filming it, or if it's supposed to be on like West Coast America, then they'll film in Vancouver. But yeah, a lot of stuff gets filmed in Canada. Oh, greetings from Wales. I loved Wales. I hiked Snowdon. A cloud rolled in the middle of our hike, and I thought I was gonna die, but it was amazing. Like, it was a great trip. Don't let that scare you. Just don't go up on the Razorback ridges when a cloud's moving in, and you'll be great. My next question, which now we're getting into the more serious questions. So if you guys have any serious or in-depth questions for me, I would love to hear them. I do really love answering these questions. But the first question I have is if I would ever consider like pastor work like my mom. If you don't know, my mom got her doctorate in theology. She just graduated 2 years ago now, and she does, part-time pastor work. Right now, she'll kind of like substitute if a pastor's going on vacation or something like that. She'll jump in and do 2 sermons or whatever. So yeah, my house growing up was very religious, as you can imagine. And I guess my short answer to the question is no. I don't think I would ever do any serious work in the church. I just find that for me, I label/consider myself more a spiritual person. I do believe that there is a higher power, uh, but what is that higher power? I don't know. I don't think there's any way to know. Is it one divine being? Is it many divine beings? Is it just the collection of consciousness all moving in one direction? I don't know. Again, I don't think there is a way to know definitively one way or the other. So, as much as I do find my spirituality is important to me, I don't really personally believe in organized religion anymore. I think it can be helpful for people. I think that people can find meaning and comfort and answers, and that's great. If you can find that for yourself, amazing. But I just don't think I can get much out of the religious part of organized religion. Like, I still appreciate the whole community aspect. Like, I'll go to my parents' church for, like fundraisers or if they're doing like a community get together or a charity event. But yeah, I don't think I would ever be able to. I guess I'll put it this way. I would feel bad preaching at a church knowing that I don't believe in their deity, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm still a spiritual person, but not religious. Hello, new people who are joining. Welcome. Oh my gosh, we've already been going for an hour and a half. That's crazy. I feel like it's been like 5 minutes. That's how these things always go. Like, the first 5 minutes takes an hour, and then everything else takes 5 minutes. Like, there's 2 sets of 5 minutes. I don't know if that made sense. I'm rambling again. I've been rambling this whole time. Okay. Next question. Someone asked, do I want kids? Which I'm completely comfortable answering this question very, very simply. No, I do not want kids. I don't ever want kids. I have personally never felt any sort of inclination of pulling me to want kids. Like, there's never been a feeling. You know how some people will say, like, oh, you're young, it'll happen, like one day it'll just happen, like you'll hold a baby or something will happen and something will just awaken in you. And I've always thought that that's never going to happen to me, and it hasn't happened to me. And I can say with pretty absolute certainty that I don't think it will ever happen to me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting children. If you want children, amazing, great, like fantastic. But I just don't personally want children. And so that's unfair to the kids as well. It, like, just having children just for the sake of them. But one thing I have actually really loved about doing this whole ASMR thing, because a lot of people say that one of the biggest reasons for having children is knowing that, you're passing something on, your children are, going to keep living past you, hopefully. And, so there will be a piece of you that keeps going in the world and, you get to leave your mark. But I feel like I get to do that with my ASMR. Like not that you guys are my kids or anything like that, but I feel like I kind of get that um like I get that kind of feeling knowing that I'm passing something on to other people, and my videos will hopefully exist for longer than I do. And even if they don't, even if no one watches them, hopefully, the positivity that I pass on to people will get passed on through the ages, if that makes sense. So I feel like I already get that feeling, and also I don't want kids, so yeah, why would I have kids? But yeah, I don't want kids. That's the short answer of the story. Um, yeah, I think yeah, thanks Matt for I feel like that's the big thing, is that like I respect people who don't want kids. I respect people who want kids. Everything is valid. Like you do what's best for you, and I just know that personally the best thing for me is to not have kids. Um, One thing I find really irritating, I guess, this is especially a thing that happens with women, I suppose. It probably happens with men too, but I would guess with women more, is I've had a few people say to me when they find out I don't want kids, they'll be like, "Oh, but you would be such a great mom." And it's like, I probably would be. Like, I have the nurturing, personality. I would do my best for my kids. Like, I would do the research, I would put in the time and the effort. Like, I know I would be a great mom, but that's not a reason to have kids. And it seems kind of silly to be like, just because I would be good at this, I should give away 18 years of my life for a person slash people who I don't want. But yeah, anyways, that's my personal thought on it. What are some of my favorite books? So, one of my favorite books growing up was Ready Player One. I didn't really like the movie. It was fine if you consider it separate from the book. The book just goes into way more detail, and it's so much more nuanced. And I think one of the biggest things too is that the main character is supposed to be really, really young. And oh, who is it? Asa Butterfield? Like he was really good, but I feel like he like just because of the age of the actor, like he was just a bit older. And I feel like the whole point was, I mean, not the whole point, but like it was showing like how they were subjecting children to war. But now I'm getting off topic. But Ready Player One, great book, read it. The author is apparently a terrible person, but the book is really good. I also really, really loved Lord of the Rings growing up. My mom actually read the books to us when I was really young. Fellowship of the Ring, she read to me when I was 6, because the movies were coming out, and my mom wanted to be able to take us to the theater and not have us like, cry when Gandalf died or whatever. So she read the books to us ahead of time before we saw the movies. And so, yeah, the books have a very, very special place in my heart, even though I've never reread them. They're very, very big. And the movies exist now, and the movies are great. And what else? Oh, one thing, I was the big Gandalf dies. Oh no, I just spoiled Lord of the Rings for everyone. Now how will I ever forgive myself? Also, Snape kills Dumbledore. I'm really sorry to let you know, um, but the one book series I was the biggest hipster about was Song of Ice and Fire, or Game of Thrones, as the TV show is known, because I read the books before it was even announced that it was going to be a TV show. And the only reason why I am very strong in my feeling of being a hipster of Song of Ice and Fire is when I was reading the books, I loved the books, and I would tell all my friends, like, hey, you should read this book. It's amazing. And they'd be like, oh no, that doesn't sound like it's for me. And then years later, they're all like, hey, Maple, you should watch this TV show. And I'm like, I told you to read those books 5 years ago. But anyways, 4:33 a.m. Oof, that's quite early. Well, I hope you can get back to sleep soon. I'll try to stay whispered. So, a church of Maple where the services are whispered. Ooh, maybe I should at my holistic wellness camp. I'm gonna have, I don't want to call it a church. I don't know. What's another name for a church that's not a church? We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna make that happen. I finally read the original Jurassic Park novel. I didn't even know there was a novel. There's a Jurassic Park novel? Okay, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna a cult. Oh no, guys, am I gonna be a cult leader? Okay, well, you heard it here first. The Maple cult is coming in 5 years. It's gonna be great though. It's gonna be a good cult. Not, is it possible to have a good cult? I don't actually know. Like, is it like I guess my question is the word cult automatically negative? Like, is it possible to have a good cult? I don't think so. I'm gonna have free thought, and everyone's allowed their opinions. Like, I'm not gonna control anyone. Is that a bad cult? How old were I when I read? Oh, A Song of Ice and Fire. Uh, it was grade 8, which would have been 2008. So I would have been 14. 14. I read Song of Ice and Fire. Maybe not appropriate for a 14-year-old, but I really liked. The Maple Mission. Ooh, I like the Maple Mission. Yeah, that also sounds like we're doing something. Like we're doing something good. I like the Maple Mission. Okay. If you ask cult members, they're like, I don't know. Some cult members, like once you're over the cult, they're like, oh no, I was wrong. Okay, but I'm gonna start a good cult. I'm gonna figure out a word for it. It's gonna be great, guys. It's the Maple Mission. You're all invited. I think yeah, I've never heard of the Jurassic Park book. I'm gonna have to, okay, I'm gonna make a note of that as well in my weird little note. Jurassic Park. Oh, I just spelled Jurassic wrong. That's fine. Okay, next question, because I've been rambling about this for a while. Related to the have I want kids, have I ever been married, or do I want to be married in the future? The short answer to this one is yes, I would like to be married. I do feel like in recent years my opinion has changed a little bit. As in when I was younger, Disney princess, hopeless romantic. I was like, I'm gonna find my soulmate and we're gonna live happily ever after. Um, I no longer believe in soulmates or that there's, the one or, a person for you. I think it takes hard work and a lot of effort to have a very long lasting, fulfilling relationship. But I do hope that someday I do find that. I feel like in some ways, especially because I don't want kids, like, I feel like it's not as important to get married. Like, I feel like nowadays the marriage would be so much more important to me than the wedding itself, which I think is really important if you want a healthy marriage. Um, but I am now of the mindset where, like, I'm not gonna force something. Like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, we've dated for 3 years, so now we get married," because that's the next possible step. I do love the idea of having that strong commitment to someone where you can stand up in front of people, have it be legally binding, and, say, like, "I'm sure about this person." So I do still like that idea, but yeah, I guess it's not, like, as integral in my mind anymore, but I would love to have it happen someday. And if it does, maybe I'll have a giant wedding and, all of you guys can come out. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That would actually be kind of crazy. Have like a meetup for no, actually that's a terrible idea. I'm not going to do that. Never mind. The one thing I know I really want at my hopefully future wedding is a bouncy castle. I don't know why that's been in my head for the longest time. I just love and not a fancy, like, white, bouncy castle, they have those for weddings. I want, like, the primary color blue, red, and yellow one, and then I want everyone in their super fancy dresses and suits taking pictures, jumping up and down in a bouncy castle. I think it's gonna be way better than a normal photo booth, and I think it's gonna have the best pictures. So, ooh, a cult wedding. Oh, the Maple Mission marriage. Oh, when's this stream going until? I don't actually have that many more questions. Probably around 20 minutes. I was planning on having this be approximately 2 hours. I feel like that's a good amount of time. But if you guys have lots of questions after, then I will keep answering them. I might give some shorter answers if I'm starting to get tired, but yeah. Oh, there's a few comments I missed. Game of Thrones is my favorite series. It was very controversial. Yeah. uh, I think it's fair that 12 seconds left. What is there a time limit on it? Is that for the Super Bowl? Wait, let me just scroll up. I missed some comments. Do I think that it's reasonable? Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything should be banned for any reasons. I feel like if people wanna watch something, like, they should be able to watch that content. Um, like, I definitely think that art shouldn't be censored at all, like, for kids, for sure, but yeah. Like, I don't think shows should be removed from TV because they're too graphic or whatever. Um Including an F5 tornado. Whoa! Okay, that's a lot for a movie, that's crazy. I don't want a forced marriage. No, I don't want a forced marriage. I do like the Maple Mission and Wedding Chapel. Oh, Kansas City won! Okay. Was it a good game? I don't know anything about football, by the way. You can probably guess by the way I'm asking those questions. But yeah, was it like it sounds like it was good if Kansas was winning and then the 49ers and then Kansas. I feel like that's a classic game, but yeah, let me know. A super quiet wedding of whispers. Oh, what if we had the whole whisper, like, yeah, like a whole wedding and everyone was like, "Do you take this woman?" That would be great. I'm gonna have that happen. I just sent you the link to the novel. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. That's actually very helpful. Okay, you are invited if you want to bounce on the bouncy castle. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do like just like a $5 deposit to bounce on the bouncy castle. And then I can make back because I'll have to like feed you guys and everything. Like it's gonna be really expensive, but we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. Maple Forest Tribe. Yeah, I like the forest tribe. Okay. Okay, next question. I only have a couple of questions left. Was my MBA worth it? So if you don't know, right actually as I was starting ASMR, I was just finishing an MBA that I was getting in Barcelona. Um, so this answer might be a bit hard to explain, but for those of you who don't know, there are a lot of these businessy schools, especially in Barcelona, well, like universities in Barcelona that are meant for English speaking people. Um, and they're not the best degrees. Like, they're not a highly regarded degree. Like, my MBA wouldn't be, on a list of top business schools that have ever existed or anything like that. Um, so I will say that the courses themselves, I feel like there was a lot lacking there. Um, the school I went to advertised themselves as having, people who have worked in the industry. So, you're getting real opinions from people who have actually worked in the industry, which sounds great on paper, but a lot of the professors they had weren't great teachers. And, it's one thing to know information, and it's another thing to be able to convey that information to other people in a way that they can process it and learn it. And so I do feel like there were at least a few teachers where I didn't really learn that much from them. Um, Especially there were a couple that had really, really, really thick Spanish accents. And so, especially, we had a lot of classes on Zoom, and it became really like the accent on top of being online. It was sometimes really difficult to understand. Um, but that was also like being in COVID. What are you going to do? I do feel like it would have been better in person. But all that being said, in general, I do feel like my MBA was worth it for a few reasons. The first one is that I learned a lot from the people I went to school with, because we had students from all over Europe. We had students from every single continent. Yeah, every single continent except Antarctica. We didn't have any Antarcticans in our school. But so because we had this very, very big variety of where people were from, we ended up having really good discussions in the class. So, a lot of the times you get stuck in a way because that's just the way that things have always been done. But we had a lot of really interesting discussions because someone would be like, oh, this is the way I do things. And then you'd be like, oh, really? I do things this completely different way. And they'd be like, wow, I never would have thought about doing it that way. But yeah, so I learned a lot from the people I was in school with. I do have an MBA now from a real registered university. So, it's not a bad thing to be on your resume. And it was way cheaper than a North American MBA, I can tell you that. And so I feel like overall, I am very happy that I got that degree and I did it the way that I did. Um, but yeah, it's not like I would say, oh, yeah, go here, you're going to learn tons of business and you'll be able to be a business expert after. But I did definitely learn a lot from that. Hello, new people who are showing up. Oh, yeah, there might be some people coming in from the Super Bowl. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl, and I hope the team that you wanted to win won. Oh, you should visit Chile. I really want to go back to South America. I have been to Ecuador, and I loved Ecuador. Um, we went to the Galapagos as well, which was very, very beautiful. But yeah, I love South America. The cuisine as well, like South American food is really underrated, you guys. It's really, really good, and you don't really see a lot of South American food restaurants. But yeah, Quito. Yeah, I've been to Quito. I loved it. The whole Quito is a really cool city. I'm pretty sure it's in the Andes. I'm sorry if that's wrong. It's in some mountains. And the whole city, it looked like someone had just taken a city and then just like dropped it on these mountains. And like, I don't know, there's just so many houses going up and down. It was really cool. Beautiful. Loved Quito. Galapagos as well. Definitely recommend. And I also really want to go to in South America, Peru, because I really want to go to Machu Picchu. That's on my bucket list as well. I missed that earlier, but I really want to go to Machu Picchu. Yeah, there's not that many people born in Antarctica. Oh, is my education helping with my YouTube stuff in any way? That was also my next question. Wow, you guys are really good at like knowing the next, or I just structured it in a really good way, so it just naturally flowed into the next question. But yeah, my next question is, has my MBA influenced my approach to content creation? I would say yes, like definitely yes, but I feel like there's not like one big way that it's influenced me. It's more so, hundreds of little ways instead of one big way, if that makes sense. So I always say, I use my degree every single day, but like what amount am I using it? It'll change from day to day, from what I'm doing. I'd say one of the biggest things that helped me, and I mentioned this in one of my mindfulness videos, is that in business, you talk a lot about setting out a, you know, purpose for your company. You're supposed to have goals, you're supposed to have a vision or a mission or, any combination of those things. And so when I started my ASMR channel, I sat down and I was like, I'm going to figure out my values. I'm going to figure out, um, I guess, the things that I would never bend on, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to list the things that I never wanted to change my mind on, no matter what happened. And I think because I sat down and figured out, yeah, kind of like my values very early on, it really helped me shape what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And I feel like that really helped me a lot. And it really helped me find a lot of passion and value in what I did because I had figured out already where I wanted this channel to go. But I'd say that that was probably one of the most helpful things for me. And speaking of values, because the same person had asked these few questions, and they had said how I had mentioned in one of my mindfulness videos that Apple has great values. And what I meant by that was we had talked about it in business school. We actually watched a TED Talk, which I looked up in case you wanted to look it up yourself. It's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And the point of the TED Talk was how the best of the best companies, they don't start with what, they start with why. So instead of starting with, here's our phone, they started with what does our company mean? What is our company trying to achieve? What is the brand of our company? Who are our users? They figured out that before they figured out the technical what. And so when you do stuff like that, so Apple is a great example. they built this brand of themselves, and so you're not just buying a phone, you're buying an Apple phone. You're not just buying an iPod, you're buying an Apple iPod. Like, it became a thing in of itself just to be Apple. Uh, another similar company would be Disney. Like, they branded themselves incredibly well, and they're not just selling you going on a roller coaster. Any theme park can sell you getting on a roller coaster. They're not selling you that. They're selling you the vision and mission of Disney. And people, attach on to that. And so, like, the whole TED Talk, it's not even necessarily about business, but again, it's about like leadership, which can be business, can not be. But it talked a lot about how if you start with purpose, then it's a lot easier to influence people and, yeah, just go about things in a better way. But that's what I meant by that. But yeah, go watch that TED Talk. It's a really good TED Talk from what I remember. And yeah, we are moving on to if any of you guys have questions for me. We're going to be finishing up fairly soon. If anyone had questions, whatever questions, like simple questions, in-depth questions, if you had questions about ASMR, about my process creating ASMR, if you had questions about mindfulness or meditation, I will stay here for a couple of minutes in case anyone has questions for me. But yeah, I wanted to finish this by saying that I had just come off of doing my whole mindfulness meditation series, which, if you guys have watched that, I hope you got something out of it. If that's not your cup of tea, that's completely fine. But yeah, I've talked in those videos about, how much those videos meant to me. And I do feel like, for me personally, it's made a huge difference in the way that I'm looking at things and the way that I think about life in general. I do feel like I need a little bit more time to process everything because I feel like I kind of crammed in so much learning in a month and a half. I watched so many videos. I read so many articles and things, like, so I feel like I just need to like process what's the most important and like the key takeaways for me still. But yeah, I hope you guys really got something out of that, if that is what you or if you did watch those videos. But yeah, like I said earlier, because I've kind of been going like very, very, very hard with the effort for those videos, I'm looking forwards to having a couple of weeks where I can take it a little bit easier, especially since my birthday is next week. So I'm going to be taking a couple of days off for that. But yeah, the point of that, in conclusion, hopefully I should have more time for big picture stuff. I feel like I haven't had a lot of time to, sit down and think about big picture stuff because I've just been, going from one video to the next. When you come out with 2 videos every week, it's hard to think about 10 videos from now. You're always thinking about the next 2 videos because there's always 2 videos coming up. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to taking a step back, not putting in less effort or anything, but yeah, just taking some time to think big picture about what I'm doing, where I want to go, other big projects would want to do. So yeah, if you guys have any input on that, over on Patreon, I have, on my free version of Patreon, I have journal posts. And so if you guys want to be a part of my big picture planning for the future, please come over to Patreon. You can join for free and you can comment on my journal posts. I do at least 1 a week. I used to do 2 a week, but I've been so busy I've only done 1. But yeah, so feel free to join us for that. Let's see if, oh, goodbye, people who are leaving. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, let's just do a few more questions and then we'll be finishing up. So if you have any last questions, make sure you get them in now. And we will be wrapping up in a few minutes. Will I make more videos about tapping? I can. Let me add a note for that. Tapping. Tapping is one of those things that, like, I like doing it once in a while, but I don't know why I feel strange doing a whole video about it. But I think that's because for me personally, I wouldn't enjoy that video, if that makes sense, because I like tapping, but yeah, not for the whole video. But that doesn't mean I'm against it. So yeah, if you guys want tapping, I can do a whole tapping video with different materials, different tapping styles. But I've made a note of it, so I can definitely do that in the future. What country does your family come from? I answered this earlier, so I'll do it really quickly now. My dad's family is mostly from England, and my mom's family is from Germany, like 99% German on my mom's side. So I'm German and British, like teensy bit of French. I think like 5% French, but other than that, British and German. What is my normal job? My normal job, when I'm doing a normal job, is a food and beverage manager. So for the few years before I was doing ASMR, I worked in a lot of different restaurants as a manager, mostly in touristic places like ski hills or resort islands. It was tons of fun, but also very stressful. It was a wide variety of emotions to work as a manager at a resort restaurant. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but it has its moments. But right now, I'm not working a day job. I'm doing this ASMR. I do a lot of custom videos, actually, and I have a few other side projects to make money, which also, if anyone wants custom videos, you know, my email is in the description if you're interested. And I think that might be Super Bowl. Will it be on my video list? Yes, this video should come out, which I'm gonna have to delete the previous one, which ended up being a 30-second picture of OBS Studio. But yes, this video should be coming out after. Normally, it takes a few hours for YouTube to process it. So when I hit the end stream button on my end, it just says processing. And then usually, like, I'm going to say maybe 5 hours, it might be ready. Within 24 hours, it should be on the channel. I have no control over it. Just YouTube at some point will be like, yep, it's ready. But you will be able to watch this whole video. Keyboard sounds are nice. Oh, I have a cranial nerve exam coming out next Thursday, and that one has keyboard sounds, like a good amount of them. So look forwards to that. Or is it this Thursday? No, no, actually, I don't have my schedule in front of me. But yeah, I think we are wrapping up now, unless anyone has any final questions. But thank you so much for joining me for my birthday live stream. Yeah, I loved seeing all you guys. I'm gonna plug myself at least a little bit. I know I just plugged Patreon, but I'm gonna do it again anyways. You guys get stuck with it. Yeah, I try to do a lot for my Patreon. Like I said, on my free version, you can see the journal posts. You can comment on the journal posts as well. So you don't even need to pay money for part of it. But if you do want to pay money, I do a exclusive video every month on Patreon. I do it in a way where the people on Patreon will suggest the video ideas and then they will vote on the videos. So basically every month there's a video that is completely decided by the people of Patreon, um, except for this month, so I feel like this is a bad time to say it. This month, I'm gonna be playing guitar and singing along, because it got tied in the vote last month, and I'm very nervous playing guitar, so it's something I wanted to push myself to do for my birthday. So, yeah, this month's exclusive is me playing guitar. If you have any interest in that, head over to my Patreon. The link is in the description. Or if you want to join the free Patreon to see all my journal posts. I like journal posts a lot more than Instagram posts because I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I like typing out my feelings and telling you what's going on in my life instead of just having a picture like, here's me at lunch. I don't know. That seems so weird to me still. Um, any upcoming projects? Oh, I answered this question earlier. So again, I'll just recap very quickly. So I'm going to be doing a countdown of everyone's top triggers. I'll be doing like a thing where people can go and vote on top triggers. And then I'm going to be doing a countdown of everyone's favorite triggers. I have a few collabs coming up with Tinklestorm and Thorson and a couple other ones that might happen. We'll have to see. Oh, and my Avatar video coming out, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, not the blue people. That's coming out in a week and a half, I think, whenever Avatar comes out. Please consider a library one. Oh, library one. I'm gonna write that in my maybe list. I have a very long list of like random video ideas. It's very, very long. Study contract law. That'll be good for my friend who's just finishing law school. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for coming out to celebrate my birthday. I'm turning 30 next week. That's both exciting and also terrifying, but also exciting. But yeah, thank you so much for coming out, guys. I really love doing this. I love every time I get to chat with you guys. It's like one of the biggest reasons why I do this. I just love meeting people and talking to people from around the world. Like, I don't know, it excites me so much. And you guys are awesome. Like someone had said earlier, ASMR comment section is always way nicer than any other comment section on YouTube. But yeah, thank you guys for all your support in general. Thank you guys for coming out, and I will see you next time. Bye.